The last but not least division, the NFC North, I will be predicting this year. I had a great series so far for the first 7 episodes. After you get done watching this, just go watch those real quick. And yeah, let's get into it. In my opinion, this division is the best in football. You know, you could argue the AFC North or the NFC West, but any one of these 4 teams could easily win the division. They can make any case about it. But it's really hard to predict this division because it can go anywhere. But starting off as my number 4 team, just as like last year, the Chicago Bears. I have them as the number 12 seed, and I really do like the new head coach, Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions. I think he will make that offense significantly better. And their last year, they weren't even that bad, but you know, Caleb Williams, he could definitely be better. One of the main weak points for the Bears was the offensive line, and they definitely addressed it this year. Their main acquisition this year is Jonah Jackson, Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Grady Jarrett, and Deo Odeyingbego. I always mess up his last name. I'm so sorry. The Bears defense will always be a top 10 unit. They're always a great defense. Their offense is usually what's a stinker. Last year wasn't that bad, but the offensive line was one of the worst in the NFL. They improved it drastically. They had a nice draft in drafting Colston Loveland and Luther Burden. They drafted a couple offensive linemen. They got a brand new head coach, which is probably one of the best candidates out there. Caleb Williams going to his 2nd year. It's all a lot of green lights, right? It should be good. Just the other 3 teams ahead of them are a lot better in my opinion. Let's go on to number 3 team. The number 3 team just sneaking in the playoffs as a number 7 seed will be the Minnesota Vikings. And again, any one of these teams could win a division, so it's not like it's just so hard to really predict this division. But I got the Vikings as my number 3 team in this division. Their main addition this year is Jordan Mason, Rondale Moore, which he just got hurt. I don't know his severity of it yet. Will Fries, Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kelly, and Jeff Okuda. They lost Sam Darnold, David Quessenberry, Stephon Gilmore, Shaq Griffin, and Cam Bynum. This defense was a pretty good unit last year. Their secondary did get a little bit weaker, but their defensive line definitely improved, and linebackers definitely improved. Their offensive line got, pretty good in the draft and, through free agency period. This offense should be a very good unit with Jordan Addison, of course, Justin Jefferson. But the biggest question mark is, of course, the quarterback. I think J.J. McCarthy, even if he ends up being like a mediocre quarterback, just above average quarterback, this team will definitely make the playoffs. But if he's like a bottom 10 quarterback, this team's not making the playoffs. Of course, the quarterback is the biggest position in the group or in the NFL. And the Vikings, if he can be good, this team is definitely scary. Probably one of the best rosters in the NFL. So as my number 2 team, actually tied with the first place team. Okay? The first place team just, got it because, of course, the tiebreakers. The Detroit Lions are number 2. The Green Bay Packers number 1. You can roast me down in the comments, call me a biased Packer fan. I get it, but I'll talk about it here in a second. By the way, the Vikings are 10-7. I got the Lions and Packers at 11-6. So it's not like, a big gap in between or anything like that. The Lions' main additions this year were DJ Reed and Rock Ya-Sin. They didn't really do anything during the free agency period. They lost Teddy Bridgewater, Kevin Zeitler, Frank Ragnow, who just retired, Cedarius Smith, and Carlton Davis. And they also lost both of their coordinators. So the Lions will be going through a rough time for the beginning of the season. There's no question about it. In my personal opinion, their draft was okay. They could have gone better or drafted better players. Again, at least for now. And this offense, this Lions team will be a good team. It's not like they're going to have a drastic downfall because of Ben Johnson leaving and also Aaron Glenn. But overall, the offensive line got worse with those 2 players leaving. Kevin Zeitler in free agency, Frank Ragnow in retiring. That's huge. And their offensive line was one of the best things in the NFL. Now they're like a mediocre average unit. But overall, I think their offense will be fine with Jared Goff. Of course, you got Jahmyr Gibbs as a running back. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Jameson Williams. So it's like Sam Laporta. This offense has great weapons. Their offensive line is definitely a little scary, so watch out for the running game. Their defense lost a couple secondary people, but Aiden Hutchinson will be back, and that is a huge signing basically because he barely played last year. So yeah, this defense will go through a lot, shake up, especially in the secondary. They also just lost one of the other cornerbacks, Ennis Rakestraw, I think his name is, for the year. So the Lions have a really big question mark. Are they going to be as good as last year? No, they're not. And that's why I had them as a number 2. And I got the Packers at number 1. The main additions for the Packers this year is Nate Hobbs, Mecole Hardman, Aaron Banks, and Isaiah Simmons. But they did lose Jair Alexander, AJ Dillon, Eric Stokes, Josh Myers, and TJ Slayton. Now, one of the biggest question marks for the Packers is, of course, how's that wide receiver room going to look? As of right now, Matthew Golden is doing phenomenal camp, but all the other wide receivers are struggling, of course. So there's a really big question mark with Romeo Doubs. Jaden Reed getting just injured not too long ago. His week 1 status is in question. But I really do think that this Jeff Hafley defense and going into the second year will be significantly better. I think that Nate Hobbs is a great addition to this team. Isaiah Simmons could be a lot better as a number 3, linebacker. Losing Jair Alexander does sting a little bit, but he also barely played the last few years, so it's not like we're downgrading that much there. Now, is Jordan Love going to have a great year this year? Honestly, he shouldn't. The offensive line improved. He's got nice wide receivers. Again, even though they drop the ball all the freaking time. Josh Jacobs was a dog. This defense will be getting a lot of 3-and-outs, hopefully. Knock on wood, of course. But again, I don't think the Packers are going to completely run away with this division. It's going to be a tight race between these 3 teams. Literally, the Lions and Packers are 11-6. I got the Packers going 1-1 against the Lions, 1-1 against the Vikings, and also 1-1 against the Bears for the divisions. The 3-3 in the division. But let me know in the comments how you feel about this division. Is the Packers the last place team? Is the Packers the first place team? Is the Bears winning the division? Let me know what you think down in the comments. But that wraps up this series. I did enjoy filming it, noting it down. I got some crazy predictions. I definitely do understand that. But I will have playoff predictions coming probably next week after this video is uploaded. So definitely stay tuned. But I'm out of here. Deuces.